The Red Wings have been in a race for an NHL wildcard playoff spot for weeks. The Penguins are also in that race, and Thursday night in Pittsburgh, they beat the Wings 6-5 in overtime. Also on Thursday, in men's college hockey, the Boston College Eagles blew past Michigan 4-0 in their NCAA Frozen Four semifinal matchup in Minnesota. The loss ended the Wolverines' season. Michigan public sports commentator John U. Bacon joined Morning Edition host Doug Tribou to talk about all of that and more from the world of hockey. DT. Let's start with Michigan. This was the Wolverines' third straight trip to the Frozen Four and their fourth in the last 5. They've now failed to get to the title game in each of those appearances. What's keeping them from making that last leap to a championship? Jub. I would have to say maturity. This is still a young team in some ways. Thursday night, they took a dumb penalty at a dumb time. They had a power play. They've got the best power play offense in the country. A power play is when the other team gets a penalty and now you've got 5 skaters versus their 4 skaters, a great chance to score. And then on their power play, they took a dumb penalty. So then, of course, Boston College goes down and scores. So they've got all the pieces. Their goaltending is not quite the equal of their peers right now, but everything else they're loaded for bear. DT. And Boston College has one of the best defenses in the country. Tough to match that, regardless. In the other semifinal game, Denver beat Boston University in overtime. BC and Denver will play for the national title on Saturday night. John. Sticking with college hockey. A couple of weeks ago, the Ohio State women's team won the national championship. You hear much less about the women's Frozen Four here in Michigan, because there are no Division I women's hockey teams in the state. When I moved here from New England, I found that shocking. In Boston, there is the famous in-season tournament known as the Beanpot. Harvard, Northeastern, BC and BU play in it every year. Well, the women have had their own Beanpot there since 1979. The NCAA has had a women's Frozen Four for more than 20 years. Now, U of M has recently announced it's looking at adding a women's hockey team. Why haven't universities in the state added one yet? Jub. Great question. The short answers are money, time, and effort, and hockey has to be about the most expensive sport out there. Having said that, Doug, there are 7 universities in the state of Michigan that have Division I men's hockey and 0 women's. There is a ton of women's hockey talent in the state of Michigan that goes to Ohio State and Minnesota and Wisconsin, where there are programs. John U. Bacon on news that U of M is exploring the possibility of adding a women's hockey team. There are no Division I women's hockey teams in the state of Michigan. Minnesota, Wisconsin, they've got great women's teams who win national titles.